A new way that I'm going to be trying for my energy forecast is going to be with a video portion. So if you know me, you may or may not know, I really don't like doing videos. However, I do feel like those places we don't want to go are the places that we must go. We must venture into to face the darkness, to look at what's under the bed. Terrifying, but important for a soul's evolution. So here I am showing up. I thank you, my OG energy forecast crew. I know you're very used to just audio, so let me know how you like or do not like doing it this way. And yeah, let's just dive into it. So the energy that I received for this week, that I'm receiving for this week, is about how the grass is green where you water it. What is most green, most nourished, most healthy in your life right now is the area that you have spent the most time nurturing. And I don't mean nurturing as in you've spent all your time focused on it, because even think about grass. I've never grown grass before, but I know that you can't overwater it. You can't add too much seeds. You know, there's a delicate balance to how to care for it. And part of it is just what naturally needs to happen with the sun and what have you. So this week we're being invited to look at a couple different areas of our life. One, where you know you've tended to the grass, where it is green and flourishing and really where you want it to be, or at least closer to your ideal version of that patch of grass. And celebrating that accomplishment, that I did have to focus on it. I did have to put in that work to allow that to grow. I had to nourish it in a way that was going to serve it. And now it's at that certain point where I kind of can let it be. Then the next area we're being asked to look at is what area of your yard, what grass of your life needs some tending to? What needs nourishment? Perhaps it's something you've been putting off. Like I said, even showing up for video. That is, I made my Reach Your Happy YouTube channel a year ago. Like in January, end of January last year. That's when I intended to start doing this. And here I am, January 11th, showing up finally, and no judgment about it. It is what it is, but here I am now. So the grass that needs nourishment, that needs your attention, is probably not the grass you really want to tend to right now. So it's probably going to be one of the harder things. Every month I do this future self journaling, and I have to go through a couple different topics: emotional, spiritual, physical, and mental. I think another one is like personal, friends, family. And every month you write on each topic and you look at, she suggests, the holistic psychologist, she suggests picking the one that you feel most drawn to. And I've done that for a couple months now, and it's like, I want to work on that. I want to work on that. In the past 3 months, I have picked the topics that I go, I don't want to work on my relationship to my food and my body. I don't want to work on my relationship with people pleasing and feeling like I'm a bad person if someone's upset with me. I don't want to work on that. But I decided, because I'm really beginning to believe this whole look under the bed, look at the monster in the face, which is a Jordan Peterson reference. is an extremely appropriate way for me to move through my life, because I'm just going to leave it there. So the grass that needs to be watered this week and going forward, because I am also sensing there's going to be a renewed sense of purpose and focus and guidance coming through for you. So by looking at the grass that needs tending to, that you really don't want to tend to right now, it's going to have this incredible, almost cleansing ability. It's like, finally, I talked about the elephant in the room. Finally, I cleaned up that space that's been driving me nuts. That's another thing that the energy forecast. So by energy forecast, I tune into the collective energy. I say whatever is most relevant for the people that resonate with my message to hear this week. So cleaning up any cramped space you have in your living environment or in an environment you're often in. So perhaps it's your car, or if you work at a desk, really any area that you spend a good amount of time in. It's important to clear out the clutter this week because of this renewed sense of clarity and purpose, direction, and guidance. To have a clear space allows new energy to flow in. So leaning into that area in your life, that grass patch that you know needs tending to, it's going to bring up fear. It's going to bring up ego stories about why you can't do it, why it should stay the same. Every excuse in the book, you're going to hear a lot of excuses. And my invitation to you is to trust that you even heard this message, that this is your guidance, this is your flashing kind of red sign saying override those egoic thought patterns, because this week is a particularly potent week to break through these barriers that look all big and mighty, but are actually like a string of floss that you can basically just walk right through. So do you have something in mind right now? And if you want me to hold you accountable, I am happy to. Send me an email, a message here, wherever, and let me know what area you know needs tending to that you feel a bit resistant about. Something I talked to a good friend, Carla, about. She owns Every Body and Mind Wellness, also Hemisphere Hypnotherapy. And we were talking about suffering, how, we know these things we want to do and we just don't do it. Again, another Jordan Peterson reference. He talks about thinking about the worst case scenario. So he used a story about eating cheesecake. So if you eat cheesecake every night, after dinner, you eat a piece of cheesecake every night. Maybe you jump to worst case scenario is I get fat and I don't feel so good about myself. And he says, no. Worst case scenario is when you eat that cheesecake every night, you eventually become so overweight, get some sort of illness, and are not there for your son's prom, his graduation, right? You end up dying because of these choices you're making. And in the short term moment, the cheesecake is delicious. It's really satisfying. It's, scratching some sort of itch for you. But in the long term, you deeply suffer. So what if, instead of putting off this grass that needs tending to, but it's quite uncomfortable, just like putting that cheesecake down, right? Everything in your body's like, I need the cheesecake. I need the fucking cheesecake. Because you're so used to avoiding that topic or eating that cheesecake, whatever way we're going here. So you're going to have resistant thoughts. Your mind's going to tap in and say, this is not a good idea. Don't do it. And again, I want to guide you to let the noise be there, because we can't fight the mind, but we can be the observer of the mind. We can hear the story of eat the cheesecake. Oh, but it's so good, it's so satisfying. Yeah, you're probably gonna gain some weight, but you can work that off later, right? Whatever kind of wild thing your brain is trying to tell you. So when you bring yourself to the worst case scenario, like I said at the beginning of this, I've been waiting a year to do this video. And when Jordan Peterson said, think of that thing that you want, and think about worst case scenario if you don't do it. So if I don't do this video, what's the worst case scenario? My words, my wisdom, my energy forecast doesn't get out to more people. I don't get to help as many people as I want to help. I don't expand and grow my business in the way that I want to. I don't fulfill dreams that I have. I don't make that certain amount of money that I'm seeking to help friends, family, those less fortunate. I don't get those. Best case scenario with making this video, I am able to help somebody. I get over my fear of showing up on camera. I could go on and on. There's just so many things. And when I weigh it out, like what I'm going to miss out on, it's not worth it. So a little suffering, a little discomfort right here showing up in front of you right now is way worth it. Way worth it to me. It's worth it to feel this discomfort and like I'm sweating right now. Like that is worth it to me, because to not be able to help as many people as I want to help, to not reach these goals and move my business along and expand in the way I intuitively feel like I am meant to, because I'm too afraid to be on camera. I will suffer with the discomfort, with the shaky voice and like, oh my gosh, moment. Fear of disapproval, fear of rejection, or, even when I'm starting to say this, I'm like, what am I so afraid of? Interesting. The cheesecake reference again. You eat a cheesecake every day, worst case scenario, you die of a heart attack. And you're not there for your family. And you don't get to enjoy life. And you don't feel good when you wake up in the morning. Lots of stuff, bad stuff. So we either can choose to suffer now or suffer down the road. And it is a choice. And Jordan Peterson makes a really good point of saying there is those random things, those random sufferings. Like I had a terrible accident in October. Random. Terrible. I wouldn't put that suffering on anybody yet. It happened. So going forward, it was like I get to choose how I suffer with this. I continue to feel guilty and ashamed, or I choose to say, okay, what did I learn? How can I do my very best to make sure that never happens again? Okay. And it's still a healing process. It's still a form of suffering for me, and at least I'm doing something. To do nothing about that grass patch that's maybe even brown at this point. It's not even like dusty brown. It's done. To do nothing and say, it's never going to get to where I want it to be. If we start putting that attitude on everything in our life, what matters? So, with these energy forecasts, it's not always easy to say it like I feel it. But being a human is not easy. doing the inner work, changing our lives, putting down the cheesecake, making different choices, suffering mentally and, in your belly going, oh, I want it so bad. It sucks. But we're in this game of life, and we are given opportunities to decide how we play. That's just fantastic. It's the blessing and the curse. It's fantastic that we get to decide how we play, how we will suffer. Besides those random things that happen, we get to decide. So maybe spend some time writing, maybe talk about it with your partner, your friend, email me, whatever your path is. But bring to light that area of your life, that grass patch that if you water it, it will start to change, but you feel afraid. You feel afraid to really look at it. Look at it. This week we are being held, launched, like in all the most perfect of ways, like when a loving, nurturing, kind mother is helping you to learn how to swim. Right? She holds your belly, you're getting confident. Okay. We've been doing that for almost a year now, getting confident with this kind of energetic support. And now this is the kind of I guess the bike analogy too, where they kind of gently let you go. You're being gently held and encouraged to step forth, to face that really uncomfortable, scary thing. Could be a relationship with food, with your brother, with your career. That was actually something I was working on last week. I'm like, I let myself be intuitively guided for a lot of my life, which is a beautiful thing. And there is something to being really clear on what you want and why you want it. And when you're clear on that, your mind starts to just point to everything that's going to help you access that goal, get there. Perhaps not sooner, but more efficiently. So I looked at that patch of grass in my life that I'd been kind of looking away from, which is showing up on video like this. I know I'm supposed to. I don't know why I'm supposed to. And I've been waiting for that why. Why am I supposed to show up like this? Maybe it's just to face my fear and to show me those little things that I feel so afraid of are not that big at all. It's like that string of floss, right? You can just kind of brush it out of the way. And it's the second I started this, I was like, what the fuck took me a year to do this? Anyway, you live and you learn. Another message that I just received, I was ready to close it up and it was not quite. Pay attention to your circle of grass, your circle of life, the different areas in your personal arena. Stop trying to tend to your neighbor's yard. That's none of your business. Maybe you want to help them, but tend to your grass first. Tend to your physical body, your mental, emotional, spiritual, personal selves, right? All those different aspects of you. Another wonderful thing, when you hone in on that area that needs some more nourishment, more tending to, more attention, because when our brain is oriented towards a specific thing, it starts picking up similar energies, because energy attracts like energy. So as you hone in on this particular area needs some tending to, you're going to notice other areas in your life where this applies to. So it's a beautiful thing when you decide to look under the bed at the monster and say, oh, okay, there's nothing really here, like me showing up. here. Because when we do that, we become more bold, more brave, more courageous, and say, you know what? I was really scared to get on camera, and that actually wasn't bad at all. What else can I do? And then energy attracts like energy, so the universe will provide different opportunities. Like I've been not wanting to do, but feeling like I'm meant to do a live on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. And I do believe this is going to be the stepping stone to that. So trust that when you're working on one little slice of your yard, you're really working on the collective network you have in your own life. So tend to your specific circle of life, and trust that by you doing so, you're going to help influence other people just through the power of your example. Brad, my fiance, and I were talking earlier today about how we wish we had listened to people. We were talking specifically about having relationships when we were younger, and how no one could have told us, okay, like I know you're heartbroken, but like this is so insignificant on the grand scheme of things. Like it's just grand scale of things. It's just not, like no one could have told us that. But yet people try, kind of. So we were kind of discussing, we didn't really get to a solution, but like, is the point to be there for one another, to hold space for each other's emotions, but not try to convince anyone of some sort of way of doing it, because to each their own. We're all going to find our own path. So if we're all tending to our own circle of life, and you look over at someone else's circle, and you look over and you're like, okay, all right. We extract what we need and discard what we don't. And your mindset about abundance and lack thereof is going to be shifting as you touch on this area in your life that needs tending to. Again, you think you're focusing on one thing, and then other things start to come into play. There's more than enough to go around. Okay, I'm just going to see if there's anything else. Okay, so sometimes when I'm doing healings or the energy forecast, animals show up, and a frog was showing up, and I'm recording on my phone, so I cannot look it up for you right now, but do yourself a favor and look up frog spirit animal or frog animal totem, frog symbolism, because it has a message for you. So trust your gut about what you feel called to look at. There's going to be a bunch of different websites. Just kind of scroll around and go, this one feels interesting. And no matter what, whoever you're listening to, me, an astrologer, whoever it may be, when you're reading that frog meaning, frog symbolism, frog spirit animal, whatever you feel inspired to type in, take what resonates, leave what does not. Even in this video, if something resonated and you're like, and something else you're like, I don't really like that, or I don't really get it, or no, totally off there, Laura, discard it. Perhaps it's not for you. Perhaps it's not for you right now. Perhaps, I don't know, okay? So take what resonates. That's with anybody, anyone who's giving you advice, anyone who's giving you guidance, counselor, therapist, anybody. Put it through your personal filter. Run it through your own circle of life. How does that resonate with me, the path I'm on, what I intuitively feel? If it resonates, take it. If it doesn't, just leave it alone. Okay. Last time, I'm just going to check in. Anything else? No. So I thank you for showing up today. Thank you for tuning in. If at any point you want to play this back, again, things will resonate now, resonate later, or not at all, or something will click again. So don't be, that was for the week of January 11th. it's okay to play it back. The information will resonate in whatever way it needs to for you. So just trust your gut. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for showing up. I appreciate you. Thank you for helping me be bold, to look my monster in the face and to show up here. I could not do it without my Energy Forecast family always supporting me by listening every week. So thank you. I love you. Take good care.